Let's go fish. I'm on a mission. It's so pretty, I sure hate to waste this chance. We'll find a shady spot, not too cool, not too high. Perfect for living fishing and romance. Oh yes.
Sometimes this old farm feels like a long-lost friend. Yes, and hey, it's good to be back home again. There's all the news to tell him. How'd you spend your time? What's the latest thing the neighbors say? And your mother called last Friday, sunshine made her cry. You felt the baby move just yesterday. Hey, it's good to be back home again. Yes, it is.
Guys, I tied on a jerk bait last night. I'm going to try that. Morning, I'm going to give her a whirl this morning. This cold weather has got them really slowed down, so I'm going to try some different things. Senko, fluke, that jerk bait. I also got, oh, what is it? I got a pop-R tied on. Got the old pop-R tied on this morning. I seen some jumping yesterday, so yeah. I like that little bit of white on the back of them. Does it help? I don't know. Look at the water out there, it's alive. I ain't kidding you, the water's alive. I mean, you see fit bait on top of the water just everywhere. Pretty good. Things are going to get better. Things are going to start getting better. Let's see what we got here. Got the Senko. What we got here? I got nothing on that one. The old watermelon red speed worm is the only one I had on, so I just left that on. And of course my flipping crawl. I hate flipping. I just hate it. I like a little action. Flipping, you just set the hook and drag them in the boat. There's a white fluke. I can use that. That'll work. Let's see what else we got here. Ah, here's what I'm looking for. Watermelon, guys. Watermelon. Got one of these. Took one of these flukes up too. Have it ready to go. Using a 3/0 hook, guys. I'm using a 3/0 hook. Okay. Ease up here and see if we can catch one. Fluke didn't do it. So I switched over to the Pawpaw and I started catching fish. They weren't very big. I mean, I think the biggest one was about 2 pounds, and I just catching fish, which I kind of enjoy, just like I said, catching fish. I switched out, fished out, done speed worm, done the jerk bait, done the fluke, but right off the bat, I caught them on the Pawpaw. And the Pawpaw was kind of a silver with a white bottom. And if you notice, I'm popping it, and I'd pop it 3 or 4 times, and I'd just let it sit, and they'd hit it when you let it sit. But if you was popping it, they wouldn't grab it. But if you just let it sit there after you popped it a couple times, then they'd come up and hit it. I'm using my 10-pound test line. I switched over. I did have 6-pound test line on these because these are my shaky head rods and drop shot rods, and I just switched them over a little bit. Little guy. I lost some baits yesterday to mudfish. Mudfish, their teeth are like razors. They just come up and cut them. It was a little bit foggy. It wasn't real bad, but it was a little bit foggy this morning. We're going to get more fog as the season goes on. When it starts getting cold and the water's a little bit warmer, or vice versa, it's going to create some fog. So you want to be careful out there running on the river or on the lake or in the canals because it's just dangerous. And on top of that, the lake's dropping. It's down to, I think, 13.5 feet now. It's getting back down to where you can hit something. When I was coming back in, I seen an alligator on the bank, and it was about a 10-footer. So I turned around, went back. I was going to take its picture, And by the time I got back there, it was gone. I went past it for about, 25, 30 yards. Turned around, come back. Well, I started back down the middle of the canal, and I hit it. I felt the motor hit it and rolled it. I looked back, and all I seen was legs and tails flying back there. I mean, I don't think I heard it because they're pretty tough, But, hey, I definitely woke him up. You can see they're not very big, which, what I always say, I don't care. These guys go out and flip all day long, and the thickest of the thick, and catch 1 8-pounder, which, hey, if that's your thing, do it. Me, I want to catch fish. And if a 7 or 8-pounder comes along, that's just a little more icing on the cake, like I always say. The water is black. I mean, it's still pretty dark. It's just all that water they released up here. But what's happened is this cold weather's got where it didn't have no oxygen in it there for a while. This cold weather has put more oxygen back in it, which is a good thing. Because that way they have the fish can, succeed. There's not succeed, but make it. They can make it. So you have to bear with me. Like I said, I'm an old man, 72 years old. I get my words and stuff twisted a little bit. Try to keep my, straight, but sometimes it don't come out, But anyhow, I make these videos, and the purposes I make them is I make them for my grandson and my friends I got a couple friends that's in a nursing home that they can't fish anymore, and they watch me every day. And I do it sometimes when I really don't want to do it, but I know they look forward to doing it or seeing it. So. I try to do it a little bit, every time I go out. And I go out every day, so, I do. And they tell me how much they appreciate it, which is a good thing. you know. And what I did is I started out doing it for 30 days because I had a buddy he was in Vietnam, and he had the Agent Orange thing going on. He'd been fighting with his lungs forever, and finally it got the best of him. So I was just going to do it. I mean, he was sitting there and asking me, you know, if I would, you know, because he knew I'd always do videos. I said, yeah, I'll do it. And then one thing led to another, and I've been doing it every day. I got people that's, you know, in nursing homes and in their homes where they can't get out. You know, and they watch this, and they tell me this is like they're going fishing, which that's a good thing. And what I've done, I've tried to include maybe something I'm doing or to help somebody else. Maybe, you know, if they're out there fishing and every day, and especially the people that just picked up a rod and reel, you know, that's never fished before. Maybe I can say something or do something that'll help them out. You know, that's the whole idea of it. Now, I get a lot of flack from the so-called pros, you know, guys that's been doing it forever, you know, and which is, that's okay, you know. Yeah, but the people that's just starting out, they tell me they appreciate it. And I thank you for that, man, because, you know, I'm just a regular rum-dum like everybody else when it comes to fishing. I just like to catch fish. There's nothing special about what I do or anything. I just like catching fish. I hope, which I would try to hope that somebody, if I get down where I can't get around here and get 1 foot where I can't do anything, that someone would pick this up and do it also, you know, and go out and do this, either whether it's hunting or fishing or trapping or ginsenging or whatever, bear hunting or whatever. Because I used to like to bear hunt, you know. I like more bear hunting and the coon hunting. I was into hounds. I liked a good hound. I liked to watch a good hound that worked. I mean, a good one. And I had a couple of them. I had a bunch of hammerheads too. You know what I mean? I think everybody has that. But I had, you know, you can remember them good ones. And then there, for a while, I raised beagles. And I trained beagles. I had 5 acres fenced in where I'd train them, start them on rabbits and, you know, to hunt. And then I got into field trial a little bit. And then when I get into something, I get into it with both feet. I finally made a champion field trialing, and just like, well, I've done this, and when I done that for about 5 years, going to field trials and training dogs, and which I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed working with dogs. I mean, because if you've never been around dogs, if you get them and you start working with them, they'll do things. A good dog will do things to please you. He really will. If you give him the love and the understanding and kind of guide him on what to do and how to do it, he'll give it back to you. I mean, 100%. And I seen that, especially when I started getting into field trials. I seen them get competitive, and then I seen them. After they'd do good, they'd come up to me. I mean, the good ones would come up to me, you know, and just say, well, you know, how'd I do, you know? And really, it's amazing. I mean, how smart some of the hounds are. I mean, I had, and I'm sure there's still anybody that's a houndsman, they know what I'm talking about. But yeah, and I enjoyed that too. But it got to where, like I said, after I made a field champion, you know, and I went back to fishing, and you know, this is my first love, catching fish. And here, getting back to this, I'm pulling a pawpaw, and I throw the pawpaw, and caught some on the pawpaw, and they shut down the pawpaw. So I thought, you know, after you catch so many, you know, you can't fool the other ones. So I switched back to the fluke, and I started catching them on that watermelon fluke. And they were small. And after they, kind of shut down on the watermelon fluke, I put a wacky worm on. I took a Cinco wacky worm. I think it was, it wasn't black. It was more of a kind of a gray color. But it was a darker color because the water is so dark. It was more of a close to a June bug color, I had some watermelon reds in there and greens, but I went to that seemed like that was a trick, that darker color Cinco. And this is like I said, this is my shaky head pole, and my drop shot poles I'm using, and I put 10-pound tests on, and it's fun to catch them on it. It really is. They're not big, but it's just it's all about the. I thought that was a monster. I had him hooked in the side, but he just struck at it. It's all about the fight, and I don't care if you're fishing for tarpon or sailfish or whatever. You got to use heavier equipment. If you want to have the same enjoyment when you're fishing for smaller fish, just scale down your pole and scale down your line, and you'll have a challenge there too. Because you can't horse them. It's just like right there. I'm right beside trees, so I got to kind of, if they get up about 2 or 3 pounds, I got to try to keep them out of there. I've been using my little boat. It takes me back, and it seems like I don't know. I can get down closer to the fish are, and I'm not running around as much. And I'm fishing, closer to where I put the boat in, and I've slowed way down that boat. I've slowed down my everything. Where if I'm a bigger boat, I was running around. There's another nice one right there. I can tell the way that pole's bent. But yeah, it's see, I can throw down there 30, 40 yards, and then you have the fight. Just take your time like I am there, and you have the fight. And that's what it's all about. It's that initial strike and then the fight coming in. The fish are in good shape. They like I said, I let that pawpaw sit. There was a couple of them swallowed it. Swallowed it down. And one of them I don't think made it. He swallowed them treble hooks clear down. I tried to get him out of there so it wouldn't hurt him, but he was bleeding pretty good when I turned him loose. And you can see again, there's not one bit of wind blowing. That's a good thing. Yeah, you can see how small they are. I don't care, as long as I'm catching fish. As long as I'm catching fish, I don't care. The guys come in, they say, we got a couple 7.5 pounders today, but, well, how many did you catch? Well, that's all we caught. I'd rather catch 20 1 pounders than catch 2 7.5 pounders. I want to catch fish. I don't want to sit out there all day and get 2 bites. Now, if you're a tournament fisherman, that's what you got to do. You got to go out there and you want 5 bites, and you flipping and with a jig or a speed crawl or something like that. You're fishing for 5 bites. So you ain't no sense on Okeechobee or any of these Florida lakes down here. If you're fishing a tournament, there's no sense in fishing like I'm fishing right here. You better go in there and start flipping in the thickest of the the thin. I tell you right now, try to get a big one, or try to get several big ones. Because most of the time, very seldom, but most of the time you have to have between 20 and 30 pounds to even be close. And then what was it, last year? There was a tournament where a guy won 32 pounds down there at Roland Martin's. And they were in Worm Cove down there below Indian Prairie, and the big females were stacked up in there. But there was 20 boats that brought in like 20 to 25 pounds. The fish had just went in there and started doing their thing, and they were just plucking them out of there pretty good. But I'm sure them guys that had like 20-some pounds in their live well thought, man, I've gotten to running for this. Well, they went in, and there was 90, 29, 31, 32. So yeah, that's Florida. That's Florida, guys. Yeah, I'm having a good time catching fish. That's the main thing. If you want to do it again, give me a call, guys. If you 304-398-5215. It's $350 for me for a half a day, and that's all I do is half day. I don't do 6 hours or full days anymore. I just do till 11 o'clock or 12. I usually fish till 12 o'clock with you, and depends on the fish too. And if you want to do wild shiners, if you want to do like a couple dozen wild shiners and finish the morning with doing some artificialing, but that's good too. The crappie bite has really stepped up. It's doing a lot better right now. You got to use minis though. The jigging and the trolling is good, but that seems like a lot of smaller fish. But if you get off the bank about 10 or 15 yards, you'll catch some nice crappie. Yeah, that bite kind of died there on the fluke, so I started flipping a wacky worm there a little bit, and I caught a couple more little ones. Lost a couple little ones on it. I could have gone with a smaller hook and a smaller Cinco, but I just kept the bigger ones. And them little smaller fish like you have a hard time getting that down, but you can see some of the lily pads and stuff are starting to come back, which is a good thing. I hope they don't spray it. I seen where they sprayed trees and stuff up and down the lake here, but I would not, hopefully they don't spray in the wintertime, spray them trees, but who knows, Guys just making a living. I had one, I just dropped the Cinco there beside the boat, and he come up and grabbed it. He must have followed in one of the baits and just kind of sitting there beside the boat, and then just as soon as I dropped it in there, he had a hold of it. This, I'm pretty sure this has been around a while. This mudfish right here give me probably the best fight of anything. When I set the hook on that, initially set the hook, that thing come out of the water 2 foot like I'm thinking, what in the world? And it come up, and I didn't see, I just kind of got a glance of it. I thought, boy, that's a nice bass. And I got over there close to me, and I seen it was a daggone mudfish. But that's okay. I don't care as long as I'm catching something. I really don't care what it is, As long as I'm catching something. A lot of guys come in there and they'll take a little bat and knock them in the head and do this and that. I don't do that. I mean, you're not going to control it. And the only thing that does is get a lot of blood over your boat, and then it's just you miss it. And well, I know one guy that was out there, and he was started to swing at that mudfish and missed the mudfish. He hit that guy, hit his party in the knee there. He ended up in the hospital with the knee. So, well, I'm getting ready to go in the locks right here. There's a little bit of grass in there, but not bad. I mean, they got a new lock master there. I talked to her. The other lady was there. She was older. She'd been there for 20 years. I mean, a long time, and she finally retired.
And I think she moved back up north. I think she really moved back up north. So. But I could see when I went through the locks and the depth of the lake, it is dropping. It is dropping a good bit. So not good. Not good. I'd like to see it stay about 14 feet. Like I said, it's just, I don't know. The fish, I mean, it drops. What my experience of that is, the fish, they'll pull back. I mean, they'll pull back out in the lake. They get into, I always said they get into survival mode. When they, it's just the old, I don't know, the old survival mode. I mean, because they think, well, they're going to be, going to be stuck up on dry land or whatever it is. They pull back. They pull back in deep water. Now, that's the way it was up north. I know when the water was coming up, the fish would pull in close, you know what I'm saying? They would come to the bank. But once that water peaked and started back down, they quit biting and they got out there in deep water and they got into survival mode. But the fish down here, they don't know what to do. They'll close everything up and they'll raise it up and they'll drain it all down. Then this time of year, you got the fluctuation of the temperatures and the thermocline and just a lot of factors, But yeah, I plowed through that stuff and run right on in there. Yeah, the lady was in there running the locks. It didn't take long, I asked her how long she'd been doing it. She said she'd been working there for 3 months. And you work on them locks. I asked her how many boats she's had. She goes, well, I was the first one. So, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty boring job, the lock masters on these locks on this dike. And so she said that she reads a lot of books, and I think some of them take like a laptop in and watch movies and what, on the job. Because there's nothing else to do. I mean, you're sitting there waiting on a boat to come, and in the bad weather and the cold weather, you're not going to get no boats. Last year there, when the lake got real low, they also they shut down the locks. They closed them because the water was so low when you went out on the other end, you couldn't go anywhere anyway. So they shut them down. But if you've never been through a lock down here, what it involves is you just pull in there and you grab a hold of one of them ropes and you shut your motor off, of course. And then you have to give them your name and your numbers on your boat. So if you can't remember the numbers, just write it down somewhere there on your boat with a magic marker. Especially if you're going to be going through a good bit. And if you're like me, I can't remember anything anymore, so I got to write everything down.
You been busy this morning?
But yeah, and if an airboat's in there, you can't go in there with an airboat. Of course, especially if you're behind it, they won't let you go in there. Airboats have to go through by themselves. And I don't think they want you smoking. That's another thing in there. They don't want you smoking because they don't want no situation. They just want to lock you through and get you out of there safe. You got to be careful too when you pull in there, because you see there in front of me that cage like. Well, what happens is when that water starts coming in there, it starts pulling up, especially if you're too far up or you're too far back. And I seen this one day. A guy got too far back and the lock was going down, or the door was going down, got behind his boat, the back of his boat, and just started picking it up in the air. And that cage right there wasn't the door, it was just the edge of the cage. He wasn't up in there far enough. So you got to kind of watch out. There's a line. You see them lines. There's a big line up there. You got to stay between that line, or the door will hit you or grab you. and it could sink you. It could be a situation. So that's just something to think about when you're in there. Usually you can get a couple boats in there, bass boats, but I've seen them, plow in there. And of course, if you got $100,000 plow or bass boat, you don't want to pull in there and get it all busted up. I mean, wait till next time to go through or whatever. Yeah, it takes about 10 minutes to get through there. I mean, by the time they get all your information and you get situated where you're, holding on to something there. If you're by yourself, it's kind of a, shut your motor off, and you got to try to get over there, get on the side and get a hold of that rope so you can hold on to it. Because everything's done by pressure. I mean, they open it up on the other side, lift it up, or whichever way they're doing, to let it down. There's no pumps involved. I mean, it's just water pressure. Even the big locks on the Mississippi and the Ohio River is the same way. They just, raise the gates and let it in or let it out to lock you through. I remember when they was building the locks there on the Ohio River where I lived there in New Martinsville. They started in 1967 building the locks, and they employed a lot of people up and down the Ohio River there, because the reason they put the new locks on there is so the bigger barges, coal barges, could get up and down through there. And after they finished them in 1976. They started in 67, finished them in 1976. After they finished them, in my lifetime, it just about ruined that river, because when it turned it into like a sludge pond where there's no water moving, and there's no riffles, there's no gravel bars anymore. It's just silt, and it really destroyed that fishery. And the 50 years that it was building that, it really destroyed that Ohio River. Yeah, you see, it's not real quick. I mean, it takes a little while. You gotta be patient. What I like to do is I like to get through here, then I can go out and then I can slip back in here. If the water gets real rough, I can slip back in and lock through, And you gotta be careful on Lake Okeechobee, because it can get, it's a shallow lake and it can get dangerous real quick. You can get online and watch what the air, the wind's going to do, and know whether you can go out on the lake, or maybe you ought to just stay in the river or somewhere in the canals, because if it gets really bad, you don't want to be out there on that Lake Okeechobee.
The other lady that was here, she retired. I think the older lady. Yeah, she came in with the first load of concrete.
They built this dike around this lake. They started, I think it was in 1932 or something like that, after they had a hurricane, and it killed like 2,600 people around this lake. And then Herbert Hoover, as the president then, that's when he started the project of building a dike around this lake.
Yeah, me too. I do a lot of reading by it.
That's going away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to do
in the 100 years that's been going on here, it's it's like the Ohio River and the big locks they put on there, and they put this dike in here.
Thank you.
It kind of changed all of it. It just it's not the lake that it used to be, but it's still a pretty good lake. I mean, you still catch fish. There's still some wildlife and everything around it. It's really rebuilding itself. I mean, and it's going to take centuries to do it, because they finished that dike around there. There's nowhere for, before that, this water, they say it went almost 5 miles on back, like going to Walmart, clear up to Walmart in Okeechobee. The swamp of it went clear up in there. So off I go again. I'm going out and I'm going to fish the the hard wall. I just thought, well, you know, because I got the small boat, I didn't want to go out on the lake. And you can see the rascals are spraying the trees alongside the dike. Yeah, see, they're going in the lots. And but I don't know. Ain't nothing to do about it. When you're running these canals, and you look down through there and you're thinking, well, you know, and I can only do it 20 mile an hour, 25 mile an hour. But some of them, you know, and I've had boats over the years, will do 70 miles an hour going down through there. You got to be careful. You don't, in the first place, you don't want to be doing those 70, 80 mile an hour going down the Lake Nara canals, but they're going to do it, especially these guys in these bass tournaments. These big ones, they don't pay much attention to safety. That's sad to say, but they don't. So what you got to do is you got to be really careful and keep an eye on what's going on, because it's just like being on the highway out there on 95. It's dangerous. Every year you hear about, you know, a couple boats, especially bass boats, running over each other or run over somebody. Yeah, I went out in the lake a little bit. You can see it's just flat as pancakes, which is a good thing. Like I watched, I got a wind app on my phone. I like to keep an eye on it. It was good till noon, so I knew I could go out there and fish for a couple hours. And I caught a couple. Had a couple more on. I caught one real nice. Again, I'm using my little boat. Now, if you rent it, you can't take it out. I won't let you take it out in the lake like I'm doing right here, because, guys, I've been on the water since I've been 5, 6 years old, so I know a little bit about what you can do and what you can't do, and, you know, even in a small boat. I've been on the water my whole life, so I'm pretty comfortable with it. Whatever I do, but I'm not going to take any chances. If it's a few times I've been out on different. I was up in Lake Nipissing one time in Canada. I can remember the wind picked up real bad, and I was sweating bullets there. And then I was on Lake Erie one time too. Went out of Presque Isle Bay walleye fishing, and I had they had fish come up there. Yeah, I threw it in there, and I put the speed worm on there, the Magnum, and I was using sunfish. I think it was sunfish, they call it, Zoom. I like the Zoom speed worms. They're all good, but I kind of like the Zoom. And this fish here that I caught I'm getting ready to catch, it jumped all over it. And it's about 4 pounds. Caught me off guard too. I was just getting ready to reel it in and throw back out. I'm using 65-pound test braid Power Pro, so you know I'm not too concerned about it. I don't, you know. But yeah. Yeah, that's a nice fish. It has some sores on it, though. I mean, not real bad, but had some sores on the side of it. And I've seen that before in different places, but usually when the cold water comes in, it'll clean them up. You know, they'll clear up, man, and get better. Yeah, he
got some sores on him.
It's fun outsmarting them old bass and muskies and walleye, you know, with artificial bait. You know, it's just fun. You're thinking, you know, I think it's a little that speed worm. I think they think it's a little snake or something. You look here behind me. There's hardly any waves at all. I went on down through there about probably about a mile, 2 miles. Just taking my time. I had 2 more boil on it, and then I caught another one. But it was getting on to 10:30, 11 o'clock, and usually, that bite's over with. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty well over by that time, This little guy jumped on it pretty good too.
Fish on, guys. Fish on.
Yeah, I had a good morning,
guys. I caught
Real
a
good
lot of
morning.
fish. Caught them on a jerk bait here, guys. Caught them on a jerk bait. Pawpaw. Fluke. Caught them on the fluke. Just a good morning, guys. I enjoy catching them on the speed worm too, guys. I like catching them on this speed worm. So you want to do this? You want to come out here and do some artificial ones? We can do it. I mean, just give me a call at 304-398-5215, guys, and we'll come out here and catch some. It's time is it? 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. guys. Put him back and retie this. When they hit that speed worm like that, they tear it up pretty good. Let's see if we can catch one more, then I'm gonna go in and eat my lunch and take a break. Been a good morning. Caught a lot of fish this morning, guys, on artificial. Again, you want to do it, give me a call. Senko. Speed worm. And fluke. Like catching them on that fluke too. Like catching them on the fluke, my man. Like catching them on the fluke. Yep, good morning. I'm gonna head in after I catch one more. One more cast.